it's only focusing on the negative, which is a problem.
Something always happened, and I just would never get there. So when you're setting your goals, what is your most important category to you? Like,
That's tough.
we'll get into my goals for 2026. When you picture that in your mind, is that a net worth?
How did your goals change with your career?
I probably wouldn't have been ready anyway, to be quite honest.
So-
I've made changes toward that as well, because I've worked some jobs that I found very miserable.
Do you know what the best thing is for your mind?
Don't go there. It would take place of a different goal, and there's nothing I'm willing to give up. It's not a high enough priority in my mind. I should stretch more. Oh, my old lady's going to give me hell for this. She tells me to stretch all the time. Oh, I can hear it now.
Can we skip this one?
No. I think that's way more measurable. Like, I think that's a much better approach. Everyone out there must be allergic to money. Still a lot of unclaimed money out there from the last few episodes.
I can't believe it. I'm tempted to comment.
Don't do that. We're going to do the same thing again on this episode. Stay tuned to the end if you want to win some money. Hold up. Wait a minute.
I'll just leave that in. That's perfect.
How'd you do on your 2025 goals?
I would have to say mediocre. But I think that's a good thing. It started off poor with good intentions, but I had trouble making measurable goals.
Expound.
It was more of like a do or do not, there is no try, Yoda type stuff.
Okay.
Like, and I mean, if you guys look back at prior episodes, you'll see that we switched to quarterly goals because, I mean, I've had this issue is there's no good way to measure certain things that I put on the list. Like
exercise more.
Yeah, right.
Pretty
That's just not
vague.
yeah.
It's like, did I exercise more?
All right. So I did it a little differently as far as exercise was concerned. I was tracking my misses, but
okay,
like that's also not great. Like it doesn't give you any kind of.
It's kind of like a participation grade. It's like either you participated or you didn't.
Yeah, like you pass or fail.
Yeah, but like did you really derive any gain from it?
Yeah, it's only focusing on the negative, which is a problem, and then another problem would be like, did you gain anything from it?
Weight go down, energy go up, anything else?
Exactly.
Something measurable?
That's exactly what I was getting at, though. Is a lot of these goals.
This happens to me every single year, is the same situation where for many years, my goals is to read 3 or 4 books. Like I usually think like, I'll read like 1 a quarter or something. And then I'll get through like 1.5 books. And then I find myself dreading it. Or say I picked a book and I'm not learning anything from it. And I just kind of give up reading on it. And then it's like, well, am I going to read 4 books just to say I read 4 books, or is it more about the information you're trying to derive or personal growth?
Right.
It's like the book sucks or it isn't helping you. Just checking a box to check a box.
Yeah.
It's a good opportunity to talk about types of goals and how to create goals so they're not just pass, fail.
Yeah. I think we talked about this a little earlier in a previous episode, was building good habits. And that ultimately leads to more success. So what are these types of goals?
I always focus on finances. So mine always used to be like money related, or like how much I want to have saved or how much I want to make this year. And then
finances are important, but I think there's a lot of factors that go into financial well-being.
Yeah. So different types of goals would be financial goals, career goals, health and fitness goals, personal development, relation and social goals, lifestyle goals. There's all kinds of different goals. So I've tried to become more well-rounded, personal growth, spend time with family. Health and fitness aren't always very high on my list.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
That's always been more your wheelhouse. But financial goals would be income-related, net worth, debt reduction, investment, things of that nature. Typically, I'll round out the year with X amount of liquid assets, and then the next year I'll try to add on to that. So a lot of the times my financial goals are always to hit a certain number of liquid net worth, more or less. So mine's always to invest X amount of dollars or have some kind of number for liquid net worth. That's where probably my biggest goal always comes from. And I always set the bar really high.
So what happens if you don't achieve it?
There's a few years in a row where I kind of set the same number. This was kind of back, if you listen to previous episodes, where I was going through job changes and stuff. Those are the times I didn't. For me, previously, like there was a number like 60,000, like liquid net worth. Like that wasn't a huge monument for me. Like I've come so close to that so many times, and then it was like I needed to buy a different car, or like something always happened, and I just would never get there. Though there was a few years in a row where I didn't hit that, but then I've been able to kind of move past that. It was my more or less my goal for this year. I modified it a little bit, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
I was going to say that was my next question. Do you modify it for like the economy, like if inflation's running high, or if there's a certain percentage that the stock market's doing? Or
so originally when I set the goal, it was like 60,000 liquid funds, something I could have back in the bank in cash, and let's call it under a week or 5 business days or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be I would try to save in cash. So I'd either have it like in physical cash somewhere or in the bank account.
But we all know how well cash is doing.
Yeah, but the more I've learned and stuff, I just don't want to sit on cash. Cash is not great. So I wanted to put my money to work. So not only do I have to work hard to earn that money, but I'd rather have that money earn money. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have to work less or work less hard.
Or at least not lose money.
Exactly. So it used to be X amount of dollars, liquid dollars, whether it was cash or in a bank account. But this year I transitioned and I wanted to invest that money, try to figure out what to invest it in. So I would say after like quarter Q1, I modified that to be, by the end of the year, I wanted to hit 0.5 Bitcoin, and I hit that Q3. That was compounding on top of what I already have. So that doesn't mean that I saved, 0.5 worth of money this year. Like it was money I'd had previously. So I'm always trying to add on to it. Because you could say you want to save, 10 grand, but then if you go buy a new car in February of the next year for 10 grand, it's like you start all over again. Mm-hmm. So I try to have like some kind of nest egg and then build onto it. Originally, that was always to start a business or buy a house. But now that I put that in Bitcoin, I am starting over on a down payment to build or buy a house or a rental. And that's kind of the 0.5 Bitcoin is going to be part of my retire early fund.
So theoretically, if you don't hit it, but you're building onto something, do you add the deficit onto the next year?
Not necessarily, just because it's easy to make it unachievable, because I set the bar really high every year. And the years I don't hit it, it's usually not like I come up a little bit short. It's like in 2020 where I lost my job and tried to start a business, and it's like you don't have income, then all of a sudden your priorities change from saving money every month to like investing in starting a business. So like my whole ethos kind of changes.
Yeah.
So no, I don't necessarily add it on because life changes so quickly. You and I have talked about this where we set yearly goals. I still set yearly goals, but I try to break them down in a manner that I can track or revisit them quarterly. We'll get into my goals for 2026, but the way it's laid out is always around quarters and not necessarily a year, but the theme always stays the same.
That makes sense. It can be a really slippery slope. I did see a really funny meme the other day. It was, so I run a half hour every day, and if I miss a day, I just add a half hour onto the next day. Now I only have to run like 3,482 miles or minutes.
Yeah, I don't do that for that reason, is because if it becomes unobtainable, then you just quit altogether.
Right.
And it's like, well, if your goal is to save 20 grand this year and you only save 15, and it's like you have to save 25 next year, and it's like not possible. It's like we just give up, scrap the whole goal.
Yeah.
It's like I'd rather save the 20 over again than, not. So financial is always my biggest goal. I'm always striving financially. Like those are always the most important goals to me. So when you're setting your goals, what is your biggest, like most important category to you? Like what's the first goal you set?
That's tough. I think usually I just start with finance. It's usually top of mind. I too set more well-rounded goals, but finance is usually the one I start with. It's usually reflected the most desire. So in the past, a lot of my financial goals were just to purchase something. In the past, I haven't saved for X amount of dollars. This last year, actually, though, for Bitcoin, I set a goal of 0.1.
Mm-hmm.
And
way to get off zero.
Yeah, exactly. And that was achieved.
Do you remember, well, let me interrupt there. Do you remember when you transitioned that goal? Because beginning of 2025, that wasn't your goal. So when did you set that goal, and what did you transition from?
Yeah, so I set that goal mid-year once we decided quarterly goals.
Wasn't it almost Q3? Was it Q2 or Q3?
Q3, yeah.
Okay.
Like the start of Q3.
Okay.
Is when that started.
And what did you transition from? Like, what was your financial goal before that? Like, you transitioned from that to
That's a
0.1
great
Bitcoin.
question. I think it was so irrelevant that I just totally wiped it off.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, it wasn't irrelevant whatsoever. I accomplished it within like a week.
Okay.
So that was the issue. It was just to set a number for retirement.
Yes, I recall now.
In the goal of within itself, I was like, talk to X amount of people about what they recommend.
Mm-hmm.
And we got it. And basically what it came down to was it's too early to tell. So
Yep.
like we put a big balloon like X to X.
Yep.
And then we're just going to run with that until we get closer. But
That's fair. When you picture that in your mind, is that like a net worth? Or like a net worth minus your home? Because like if you have a rental, it generates X amount of cash flow, but like
Right.
you're not, you may not sell it to pay for retirement. Like I don't know. How do you look at that, I guess?
yeah, I mean, so then the number that we were factoring was selling everything except for
Your primary residence.
primary residence. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't always that way. Like in the past, like some of the other goals financially were to purchase things like the rental, for example, or there's been numerous vehicles that I've wanted, or the house needed windows, just odds and ends that were big dollar purchases.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really necessarily set a dollar amount that we had to have before we purchased them, which I don't know, it could be a poor way to look at it because you don't have anything to like monitor to get to your goal, but it also is a great perspective on just jumping into it.
Yeah, but in the same sense, you could look at that inversely and say you don't want to hit certain debt levels. Because like if you just buy everything every year, it's like if your debt isn't going up every year,
Yeah.
and you're buying new stuff, I mean, not like it's all fun toys and cars, like it's windows for a house. Like most people don't want to save $10
Right.
a week for 2 years to put windows in. So like you just put the windows in and then you pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as your debt's not, going up and up and up every year, like it's not really the end of the world.
That's a very good point to make. It was really interesting the way that like the windows, for instance, happened. I mean, when it was time, it was time.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had a certain amount we put down, took out a little bit of debt and paid it off within the year.
I'm assuming you financed it and the finance terms are not, it made sense. There weren't 20% interest starting today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like a lot of times you finance that stuff, places will have 12 or 18 months, zero interest. It's like, well, you might as well finance it. And it's like you can pay it off and it gets your windows done that you needed.
Yeah.
Because not everyone goes around their house and it's like, oh, yeah, roof
It's
in
about that
2
time.
months. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Normally that stuff just kind of comes up and you're like, just get it over with. Especially if there's favorable financing, like zero down, 0% for whatever.
Right.
Like if you can get it paid off in that amount of time, like it makes sense to, instead of saving for it first. They're basically accomplishing the same thing.
Yeah.
When I was younger, it always used to be save X amount of dollars. Like when I started out in an adult job and I was still living at home, I could save a pile of money. So it used to be like save 20 grand, and then I'd save that.
Stuff it under the mattress.
Yeah, and then year after year of that, like I'd do it the first year, and then like I'd do it the second year, but I didn't have 40 grand. It's like, well,
Where did
yeah,
where did
but
it go?
I was buying and selling and flipping a lot of stuff. So like money was in, money was out. It's like if you finish at the end of the year and you have less money, but I have five things laying out in the yard to sell parts off of.
Should almost start a tracker for that.
Yeah. So what I shifted from saving X to, X in net worth was more of my goal. Mm-hmm. As I wanted to compound every year. Like it's not that crucial if you hit that number early, but then the next year it's not doubling.
Right.
So I shifted to net worth, and from net worth, that's when this year I set the goal for an amount of Bitcoin, and that was an approximation of the dollar value I was trying to hit, which has gone down, but I hit the goal, so I've moved on from that.
I like that you bring up when you had your first adult job. Mm-hmm. It's interesting with the way our careers have went, how the financial goals may have changed. How did your goals change with your career?
So I was always saving up for a house or like a business or just some kind of nest egg for some big important life choice. And when I was still working on cars, like a lot of times it was always save X dollars. Like typically my benchmark was like save 20 grand a year. And then once 2020 happened and I made a career change, I'll call it, or I had, I don't know, a sabbatical, whatever you want to call it. It focused on starting a business or finding a different career opportunity. And it wasn't so much about saving as it was investing in my own education. I took classes. So it kind of shifted there. It was always saving for like an nest egg. And then it was like trying to start a business. And then it was back to saving and increasing the net worth again.
Yeah, so your financial goals kind of change with your career. Does that mean your career goals have changed too? Did you set separate career goals, or they just kind of blended financial goals and career goals?
I haven't really ever had, I would say, like a career goal. When I was working on cars, like there wasn't really a lot of differentiation. I was pretty much already certified as I could get, and quickly maxed out like pay wise. And I never wanted to, there wasn't really any other positions in that industry that interested me a ton.
Sure.
Except for maybe like a service manager, but I was really never kind of at that opportunity. I probably wouldn't have been ready anyway, to be quite honest.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. And then once I left that career path, it was like start a business. Potentially, I looked into that. I wouldn't say it's like was a career goal by any means. It was just like a different opportunity, but that didn't pan out. I'm not opposed to it in the future, but it just like didn't work out. And then I got another job doing what I'm doing now. And I don't necessarily have a target like I'm welding currently, and I will have a few more years of doing that till I finish my apprenticeship and turn out and be a journeyman. So like for the next few years, it's pretty laid out. Like I don't plan on changing or deviating from that by any means. From there, I don't know. I'd like to grow and move around. I don't know where yet. I don't know what opportunities are available. That's actually a conversation I'll be having here pretty quick with my superintendent. It's just kind of laying out a path if he has any thoughts.
Yeah, that's great.
Opening the lines of communication and creating some kind of path. But outside of my, I'll call it 9 to 5, my overarching goal is to amass as large of a net worth as quickly as I can to have the opportunity either to retire or even previous to that, once I get married and have kids, if my significant other would like to stay home and raise the kids and homeschool and stuff like that, like to be able to have that option.
Yeah. You talked about a lot there. I think one of the biggest takeaways is keeping your eye open for opportunity and having those discussions with your fellow coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that stuck out is obviously the financial goal within your career. Certain careers only go up to a certain pay scale, so like be aware of those things. I think the biggest thing that came to my head though, and this isn't good advice for everybody, but my career goal has always been, as of late I should say, it hasn't always been, but as of, I'd have to say 7-8 years ago, I'd have to say my career goal is just to be happy, because you spend so much time at work. So,
I've made changes toward that as well, because I've worked some jobs that I found very miserable, and it makes every other aspect of your life suck.
Yeah, 100%. So just keep that in your mind when you're setting career goals, but definitely something that's important.
Like we were saying, once I turn out, that's kind of where I'll be heading next, is I'd like to move past what I'm doing and something that I'm kind of over I don't want to say like I don't want to work hard or anything. Like it's just
physically strenuous.
Yeah, it's not fulfilling to me anymore.
That's
like,
huge.
I've moved from, I would call it like a craftsman, working on cars and welding and stuff and building things and fixing things. Like I've kind of checked that off my list, and I've kind of gotten where I'm satisfactory with my performance, and I would like to grow as a person elsewhere. I'd like to use my mind more.
Do you know what the best thing is for your mind?
Don't go there.
Physical health and fitness.
Yeah.
It does wonders.
Nick and I were just talking about this off camera, and going to the gym at some kind of frequency interests me, but I have so many things going on in my life, not to make an excuse, but working full-time plus quite a bit of overtime. I have to go to schooling for what I'm doing. We're also doing this, plus I say a little bit of hobbies here and there, editing and all this. It consumes a lot of time. I don't have a ton of extra time.
Well, let me be clear before we get any further. Going to the gym, I have zero interest in also.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out in the cold, A. I don't want to see a bunch of people, B. I don't want to have to come home and shower. Like, it is, going to the gym is rough. Props to everyone who does.
Quite honestly, I think I would have the discipline. I'm in an apartment right now, and when I end up in a home, if I could have some kind of gym equipment, I would 100% have the discipline to do X amount every day. But my typical work day is 10 or more hours. And with classes, I'm going several times a week. And I work odd hours right now. It's just really like, it's just not on the table. I live in the middle of nowhere too. Like I'd have to drive 20 minutes to get to a gym. It's just like not in the cards. I like the idea of going to a gym. It would take place of a different goal, and there's nothing I'm willing to give up. It's not a high enough priority in my mind, especially being active and physical at work. It's just not high enough on my priority list to substitute it for something else.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too, is how physical you are at work. But if it means a lot to you, you could always come early or stay late on Fridays and work out at the house here.
Yeah. I gotta go. I'm actually working on the podcast when I get home tonight to get the stuff done that I didn't get done for tonight. I'm behind.
But going to the gym or working out isn't even touching on the surface of health and wellness. For instance, like how many steps you're getting in. Like I know you get a lot of steps in at work. That helps a lot. Mm-hmm. What kind of food you're eating, that is huge. Absolutely. So
honestly, that I have my significant other does a lot of cooking and a lot of meal prep, and we reheat food that she makes. She makes like meal preps on Sunday. We reheat a lot of food throughout the week, but by no means do I take something out of a bag or a box and put it in the microwave. So I consider that a win. Like I always get produce stuff every Sunday when we grocery shop. Like I feel like I eat decently well, not always perfect, but better than I have in previous points in my life.
I think we can both say that.
I like the idea of going to a gym. I like lifting and stuff. Cardio is not real high on my list, but I do it. But I think the most beneficial, honestly, for me, bending around and welding, my biggest issue, I would say, is like lack of flexibility or like soreness. I'm not as
limber as you used to be.
I'm not as limber. That was exactly what I was going to say. I'm not as limber as I used to be. I got a lot of aches and pains all the time. And I think like if there was anything that would benefit me the most, it would be like yoga and like
stretching.
And stretching. Like if I told somebody like I was going to do yoga, someone that knows me, they'd like laugh, but that's just like not something people would see me doing. But,
I mean, 2 years ago, we would have laughed at you if you said you were on a podcast pitching Bitcoin.
That's very true. That is entirely true. I need to stretch more. We do stretch at work. I should stretch more. Oh, my old lady's going to give me hell for this. She tells me to stretch all the time. Oh, I can hear it now.
Great.
She yells at me all the time to stretch, and I just grunt. So what were your health and wellness goals for 2025? Since I did not have one. I didn't make one.
Well, I touched on it earlier. It was the missing workout days, and that didn't go very well. It was fine. It was 26 within half a year, so that's one a week, which is, I'd say, fine.
It was misses?
Yeah.
You were not allowed to miss more than once a week?
Well,
for half a year?
I told myself I was going to work out every day, and I ended up just missing one day every week on average.
Yeah.
So I incorporated that into my workout plan to allow myself time to heal and rest.
Because you made that goal, and then then talk about the transition. Because we revisit quarterly. So what did you transition that goal into, and you realize that goal is crap?
Yeah, well, I did some studying and research and developed my own workout plan for Q3 that hit different parts of my body at different times. So I'm not tracking misses anymore, but I also don't have anything to measure it well. So that I got to work on that for Q1.
We'll get into that. So would you call your overall health and wellness goal for 2025 a pass or fail, or win or lose?
Interesting question. I feel like it would be a fail, but a win.
Okay.
I've came a lot further than I've been, but I didn't hit my goals. So like, yes, it technically was a fail, but I think I won by failing rather than not doing anything at all.
Kind of overarching to this, you and I have talked a lot about this, about how to set goals and revisiting goals. If you're not on the same track, like maybe your goal just doesn't feel relevant, or your target changes throughout the year.
Yeah.
It happens quite often. It's important to revisit and change the goals if need be. Like you said, if you find that missing one a week just isn't getting you where you want to be, it's like maybe it's more important to redefine that and pivot and move forward. I think both of us kind of set yearly goals and then modify them throughout the year. And it's not because we're not achieving enough. It's like the target moves for you and I, it seems.
Yeah, definitely.
It's important to revisit them yearly. Like everyone's all like hell bent on going to the gym in January, and then by March or February, the gym's empty. The next category I've written down is personal development. And that would be like reading, learning targets, skill mastery, mindset, and discipline.
Can we skip this one?
No.
This is like my health and wellness.
Yeah, really?
For you, to me,
Yeah.
It's not good.
Why? Reading was one of your goals, was it not?
Okay.
It
was.
So tell me how it went.
This would be a fail and a Well, I guess it's technically a fail and a win because I did get some of it done and I learned some things. But
what was the goal?
Well, I picked up 4 books at the beginning of the year to read.
I don't like that already.
I know it was a bad way of going about it, and I only finished 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I did finish 2, so win.
Many years in a row, I've always set like read 4 books as kind of like a learning goal. And I always, same thing, I kind of just have my mind made up on 4 books.
Yeah.
And then like, I'll grind like heck through the first one, and then I'll get to the second one. The second one's just total crap. And, like it just, I'm like checking a box to check a box. And it's like,
what are you getting from this?
I've kind of relaxed on that goal a little bit, meaning I used to, like, every time I go to Goodwill or something along those lines, like a thrift store, I find books with very interesting covers and topics, and I acquire them, and I have tons of books, and I'm always going to read them all, and I don't. So I always start out the year with trying to read 4 books, and then I usually read 1.5, and I just kind of scrap that goal. Well, I've kind of transitioned a little bit with the current job situation I'm at. I'm able to listen all day.
Sure.
So I have listened to probably more than 4 books, which I'll call a win. That was actually one of my goals for 2025 was to read 4 books. I've definitely listened to more than 4 books, but ultimately, like, if you're trying to read 4 books, like, what are you trying to achieve? And it's like, well, to learn something. And I will consume so much content that like that learning goal, I kind of scratch off like in the first week. Like, I'm just like always learning so much. Like if you wanted to read like a tax book, like I could listen to a week's worth of podcasts and, you know, documentaries and information in classes on taxes or whatever. And I could accomplish that without reading a book. Like I don't need to read a book to get the same ultimate desired result. So I've kind of laxed on that and moved away from that. Cause then I find myself same thing. It's like I get through a book and then I'm in the second book and I'm like, you know, am I going to derive any value from finishing the second book? And you're halfway through a book. It's like, do I just give up on that book and start another book? So I've moved away from that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of benefit to looking at what the end goal is. For example, I mean, you could be reading for a number of different reasons, but you need to figure out why you're reading. Like, is it leisure? Is it to improve your vocabulary? Is it to just get quiet time by yourself?
I think that's way more measurable. Like, I think that's a much better approach than just saying, I'm going to read 4 books. Also, I'll just note real quickly, too, that in the background, I am working on this curated content, and I do have a list of books that I highly recommend reading or listening to, whichever you prefer, but we'll have more resources and books and websites and things like that that have a lot of value that we'd recommend, and I'll be adding that in the near future.
All right, so enough about reading. What's next?
Relationship and social goals. That would encompass like family time, community involvement, networking, mentorship, volunteering, stuff like that. Did you have anything that applied to that in 2025?
No, I didn't have anything for 2025. How about you?
I think the only thing out of that I would call relationship and social was to spend more time with my dad. He's retired. He's got all the time in the world. He's getting up there in age, and I don't know. I'd just like to spend more time with him. We have a lot of stuff in common. Bond over a lot of things. It's just spend more quality time. He lost his mom, my grandma, this year, and obviously that's not desirable for anybody, but I'd like to spend as much time with family as a whole as I can. Always have, but it's just bonding over more things.
No, is that something you measure, or is that just something?
No, I didn't put a good measurement to it. Same thing, like along the same lines as I don't want to just do it to do it or feel obligated to do it. Like I want to do it because I want to do it. Like I don't want to, you know, if he's doing something and I'm just sitting in the background, you know, but I was there, does it count? Does it not account? Like,
I think that's very important for this specific category.
Yeah.
I almost wouldn't measure this one.
Yeah. It's just important to
keep in mind.
Yeah. Be conscientious about it. And it's like, if you find that you have free time and you don't have anything going on, it's like, oh, let's go hang out with your old man.
Yeah.
So that was, as far as a pass, fail, or a win, it was pretty complicated. Usually every Sunday we go hang out with my parents, have dinner and stuff. My parents have land on the water, and typically spring, summer, and fall they're out there. This year they spent very little time out there, mostly just because of family health issues. We lost my grandma, I lost my aunt. There's just a lot of family stuff going on, so they weren't out there as much. So that portion of the routine where I see them weekly, we still do dinner, but I didn't spend like half a day fishing with them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I still say I went out there and spent a lot of time with my dad. We do more stuff together in the shop now than we have in a while. I like working in the shop. That's kind of what I do for fun. And now that my parents were home more this year than out at their land, I would say I'd call it a win because I've spent more time in the shop with my old man than I have in a while.
That's great. No, that's super important. Did you have anything else to add on that one?
No, I think that was the only goal I had for 2025 in that category. Following that would be lifestyle goals. Things like time freedom, travel, work-life balance, location independence, things like that. Did you have any lifestyle goals for 2025?
No, I actually didn't have any, and I kind of regret that. I think that is definitely something I need to spend some more time on in 2026.
I don't think I had anything specific to lifestyle. Just as a recap on 2025's goals for the year, what were your 2025 goals?
Yeah, all right. Let me read them off for you here. We had the number for retirement, track the daily workout misses. We also had the reading. And then when we reevaluated for Q3, I changed it a little bit to smaller investment goals, the 0.1 Bitcoin, and then also to create the better workout plan, which succeeded. Finished another book, and then also the one I didn't touch on was to keep an eye on investment properties.
Fair enough.
How about you?
My 2025 goals, some of these I scrapped, some I didn't. I'll read all of them off and kind of how I pivoted and whatnot. My first one was a concealed carry class. My girlfriend and I did that, accomplished that. My second one was to read 4 books. I would say I succeeded. Like I said, I recapped that before. My next one was also kind of an education goal. For those of you who haven't heard of Coursera, you can basically take like college classes. They're free, or you can pay for like a certificate or something. Like you can pay for credit, for college credit. You can take it as a college class. I'd taken some in the past and kind of a free version just for personal development. I did absolutely none of that. Instead, I started watching more and more YouTube content and learning. So I kind of pivoted and just grabbed that one altogether. The next one was spend more time with my dad, which I would say I'd achieved that. The next one I have was to start on the roll cage on my car, which I would say I started. It's further apart than when I started, but
I feel like measurable is a key word here.
So I did start on that. Some financial ones, I wanted to add $5,000 to my Roth, which I did not do. I just kind of pivoted on the outlook and what I want to do with my money. Mm-hmm. So I did not achieve that. I did put some in. I don't even know an exact amount, to be honest, but I moved away from that for other reasons. And then 0.5 Bitcoin, which I achieved late Q3, I'd say. Overall, I think I'd call this year a win.
Man, we're really bad at this. And we do this every year and always pivot. There's no good way of setting goals. We need to do a better job.
I got a good quote for that. What gets measured gets managed, by Peter Drucker.
Yes.
So it's important to have things measurable.
I'm pretty sure I said earlier that this is why most of my goals failed, is because I didn't have a good way to measure them.
To elaborate on how to set goals, it's important to create what's called like a SMART goal. It's an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So if you can hit those key factors, your odds of hitting or completing that goal are a lot higher. One interesting stat I found is people who write their goals or write them down are 4.2 times more likely to achieve them than those who don't.
What if you type them?
That's what I do. Well, actually, I do prefer handwriting stuff.
Yeah. I think there's a psychological thing that comes with that. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's only like 2 if you type it.
And also those who break goals into smaller tasks are 50% more likely to succeed, which is kind of relating back to we set yearly goals, but we either measure, track, or pivot each quarter. Do you have anything lined up for 2026 for goals?
I had some thoughts because I knew you were going to ask.
Mm-hmm. We're coming down to it. Only got a few days left.
Right. Got to set these quick. I need some help, though.
Okay.
Because I don't want to run into the same issues as 2025.
So what's the first thing that comes to mind for your 2026 goals? Do you have a want or a financial goal of some kind?
Yeah, we can talk about the finance goal first. Mine's a little unorthodox, but to buy an OBS Ford.
Okay. To clarify, you're looking for a
pre-97 manual 4-wheel drive, not rusted.
Okay.
Pickup truck.
If you own one, you're out there.
Standard cap, long bed.
All right. That's yeah, that is a very
Through
unorthodox financial goal.
left field, huh?
Yeah. It seems you got that one covered. It's pretty black and white and measurable. So, what do you need help with?
Yeah. Well, my next one here is, if you remember correctly, it took me I don't know, a year, maybe 9 months to actually purchase a rental house. So I have in my goals here to set time aside for researching not only rentals in the area, but also businesses to keep my opportunities open so that if the right deal came up, I'd be able to act upon it.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily need to raise capital because I don't know how much capital I'm going to need. But I do need to set aside time so that in, let's just say, August of 2026, if something comes for sale, I'm prepared to buy.
Okay. So it sounds, to me, it sounds like you need to set aside time to learn. And I don't think the amount of time is as important as what you're trying to learn. So I would say, to make it measurable, I would say, what is it that you're trying to learn? I would try to narrow it down, and buying a business is vague, but still measurable to some extent.
Sure.
So I would probably shape that goal something around that. Like, what's the outcome? Well, actually, I can get into, hold on, let me back up here. I actually have good notes on this. So about the outcomes, or what you're trying to achieve, kind of the core thesis is you're trying to set up goals around outcomes, processes, like a focus or behavior, performance, like attaching metrics, minimum viable goals. A good example of that would be like trying to save $200 every week, no matter what.
I feel like this one is more along the lines of the
Outcome.
Yeah.
I agree. So you kind of need to define the outcome of what you're trying to achieve, because you can set aside time, but is it more important to set aside time and to actually set aside the time, or is it to learn?
So it sounds like the best thing I could do is set out an outcome for that.
I think that's the best way to make that measurable, because you can set aside time and say your time is 2 hours a week. And if you do that, but if you don't learn the things you're trying to learn, like, is it a win or not? I mean, is it a win because you set the time aside, or did you get any value from it? I think you and I are along the same lines, and why we look for businesses and other opportunities isn't, I think the biggest thing is scale.
Well,
I mean, you could work another, 20 hours a week or whatever and put more in your 401, but it's hard to scale that. Like,
Yeah.
if you have a certain number you want to hit, which is probably a little bit higher than some other people, and you want to retire sooner, like, it's really hard to just trade your time for dollars. So it's, how do you create more value without trading, 1 hour for $15 to $50 an hour or whatever?
I also like control. Mm-hmm. Like, it's at my own pace.
Yeah.
And
so you're thinking potentially like a side business, or something you're not dedicated to for 40 hours a week?
Correct. Yeah. By no means do I want to change jobs. Mm-hmm. So
I think I have the same thoughts and feelings on that. Like, I like betting on me. Like, if I'm confident I can produce a certain income, I like pay structures that are aligned with that. I like being rewarded based on outcomes. Like, I feel like I have more control over it, versus it's really hard to like really apply myself. Like, I have it in me to like work twice as hard, many hours. Like, I really can get after it when I'm focused on something, but everything has like a trade-off. It's like, if in my current role, like, if I work twice as hard, like, I get paid the same amount.
Right.
But if I was to say manage the whole shop and they do X amount of dollars a month and they're like, you need to increase it to this, it's like, then I feel like I have a goal I'm really tied to. And in those situations, I'm more apt to having a pay structure that's tied to performance or outcomes. It gives me something to strive for and work harder.
It's measurable.
And it's measurable. Just going to a job and working hourly, it just has always kind of been lackluster to me.
Well, now that we've workshopped that one, how about the next dumper? I have down time for learning, but let me expound on that. Mm-hmm. So the reason I've came to that sentence was because I wanted to read that tax book to learn more about taxes.
To clarify a little bit, I'm assuming you want to have more knowledge around the rental and taxes, because I feel like your other taxes are pretty cut and dry. If you have a 9 to 5, like, you could probably just TurboTax that. So, like, are you trying to get more advantage tax treatment around like the rental?
Let me be more clear. I don't know anything about taxes whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
When I read the synopsis of this book, I was super excited to read it. I feel like it gave me a broad understanding of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I have that, I can deep dive where I want to. But like right now, I know nothing.
Well, I think that would be reading that book would be a good like Q1 goal. Like I wouldn't make that a yearly goal, but reading that, and then once you read that, hopefully achieve that goal in Q1. It's like, where do I want to go from here?
So do I set like a half hour a day or like 15 minutes a day or like half hour a week
whatever
or something?
whatever it take you to read that book in Q1, but I would do that. And this is kind of an intro and dipping your toe, so it could go anywhere from there.
And that's more or less what I wanted to get out of it.
And the shorter duration is ideal because I would not say read that one book in a year because you're most likely based on you and I's behavior, it would be either Q1 or Q4 that you'd read that book.
What are you trying to say?
You're either ambitious right off the bat or you like slack and then you got to cram it in at the end. Yeah. And plus it's nice during the summer and you don't want to do any of that stuff in the summer. So what else?
You're going to love this next one, health and fitness.
What's your goal?
Well,
what do you need help with? Because I'm an expert.
As I said earlier, I haven't been doing anything very measurable except for, miss or not miss. So I put on here weight increase. So for the weightlifting portion, I seem to have plateaued, which is fine. It's pretty normal, but I need to find something to get over the hump. And I think setting a measurable goal for that would help. So I don't necessarily need any help with that one, but I remember back from when I was running, like 5 miles always seemed to be like the mental, like
hurdle.
Yeah, exactly. Hurdle running. That's kind of funny. But anyway, once I broke that 5 miles, it was easier to keep overcoming it. So I think I just need to get to lifting again, like more aggressively.
Does diet play into that at all? Is there anything you'd want to change? Like I don't peg you as like a strict diet kind of person, but is there like anything you'd like to add, like eat more meat or anything along those lines?
Yeah, obviously with the lifting more, there's definitely different things I could do with my diet. I don't want to pinpoint to any specific thing in my yearly goal at all for that. I'm going to probably just adjust that as I go.
That makes sense.
But
believe it or not, I do not have a health and wellness goal because I am a model of health. So we're going to skip that one.
I'll keep my comments to myself.
I made some healthy choices in 2025. They weren't goals, but we're getting there.
Progress.
Yeah. I quit some bad habits as much as I hate it.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up, actually. That's my last goal that I have down for...
Quit a bad habit?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm curious what it is.
Yeah. Well, so in 2025, for those of you who don't know, I did give up alcohol for 90 days.
Oh.
I just want to do that again.
Okay. Just one time throughout the year?
Yep, just for 90 days. And I think it's going to be this year. I think I'm going to do it earlier rather than later. But I'm thinking like end of January, maybe mid-January, start it.
Okay.
But there was definitely a lot of reward that came with that. And I'd like to, I don't want to say quit altogether, but I noticed after the 90 days, the amount I consumed was drastically less. And I've seen a lot of benefit from that.
I was dry all of 2025. I didn't drink at all. I've been sober for...
It's been a while.
I think I'm just about to touch on 2 years, actually. Not like I'm not going to go out on a, like a recovering alcoholic. I didn't go to like AA meetings or anything, but I made some life choices and I quit drinking. I used to drink often. I'll not say a lot, but often. And I don't drink at all anymore. And I've noticed a lot of positive benefits from that. So I encourage anyone that's interested, if you're thinking about it, even if it's only for 90 days or 30 days.
Yeah, hit me up. We'll do it together.
I never thought I'd see any kind of like positive benefit from it. Like I used to drink often and I was like, well, I don't really want to quit. Like I didn't feel like there's a reason to. And then I did. And then you kind of realize the things that
go along with it.
Yeah. Or the benefits. Like I didn't know, how it affected me. I didn't think it affected me. And I feel better. Like I just overall feel better mentally and physically.
Yeah. So highly recommend that.
I do have some goals outlined for 2026. I thought I was like really prepared. I actually had like a lot of stuff hammered out, but it just dawned on me just now when you asked me this. I don't have anything broken down into quarters. I have some that are obviously yearly goals.
See, we're bad at this.
I know, I'm bad at this. That's why we're here. I'll just read off the notes I have done so far and just a little bit of background. The first thing on my list is buy/inherit land from my parents. There's some farmland behind my parents' house that they'd like to pass on to the kids before they pass away. So they'd like to divide that up. And I have 2 other half-sisters, and one of them lives out of state and obviously has no desire to own the land. And my other one lives right next door to my parents. So it'll ultimately get divided between 2 people, and then we're going to buy out the third. So getting that all squared away, part of, be paying one of my sisters and then inheriting some too. So I'd like to get that all transacted and wrapped up.
Yeah, it seems important.
Long term, much longer than this. In a few years, I'd like to build my forever home on that property. So that's one thing that as a family we're looking to get handled in 2026. So that's kind of the first thing I have written down. For financial goals, I have a few different things. I kind of have this broken down.
That sounds scary. Do you have it broken down in ways that you could just throw it into quarters?
They're still yearly. I just used to set net worth goals. Now I kind of have it broken down into,
different assets.
Yeah, so it's for different reasons. So
Sure.
for one of them, I've said on a previous podcast, the vehicle I drive's got like a pile of miles on it.
Oh yeah.
And I need to start saving up for the next vehicle, and it's not like a lot by any means, but one thing, even for maintenance and other things, I'd like to put $1 for every hour I work into a separate account for cars. And if it's repairs or maintenance, I haven't really distilled it down if it's just to buy the next car or if I'm going to use that money for maintenance or anything or repairs. But I want to start putting $1 an hour into I'll call it a car fund.
That sounds important too. What else you got?
The next thing, always back to retiring early or setting money aside. I'd like to continue on the path with Bitcoin. I'd like to put $100 a week into Bitcoin as part of another part of my retirement in addition to what I contribute at work.
How'd you choose that number?
I just picked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the predictions and calculations I make were always based on what's feasible to do in a week.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times it was save X amount of dollars a week and then, multiply by 52 weeks. And it's that's realistically how much I could save. It's
good advice for people listening.
So that one's for early retirement, I'll call it. The car one I kind of derived by, I would like to have a second vehicle again. I used to always have 2 vehicles.
Gotta have more than one.
The problem, my insurance has always been high. The problem is maintaining 2 vehicles and vehicles that are, worth anything. The sales tax is kind of high. My vehicle gets 21 miles to the gallon, and I miss owning a vehicle that gets 40 plus miles to the gallon. But when I do the cost savings, it's between insurance and sales tax, I could drive my current car for 2 more years and not pay for that. So it's hard for me to justify having a second car. The one I have does everything well. The only thing I'd really like is something that gets better mileage, but it just doesn't make sense. The numbers don't make sense. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to tie that goal. I want something, so I have to work for it. So I put $1 an hour. So it's if I work more overtime, or it's the more overtime I work, the closer I am to the goal.
Okay.
Versus the retirement goal is just $100 every week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I did $1 an hour, because it incentivized me a little bit to work more hours.
Sure.
And then my last financial goal is for, I'll call it buying a rental, buying a house, or building a house. One of those 3 things. And that is to save at the end of the year, have the same amount of dollars as 4 ounces of gold at spot price by the end of the year. So for those of you who don't know, gold right now, spot price is about $4,500.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So it'd be 18 grand by the end of the year, which is a pretty healthy amount on top of all the other things I have planned.
Yeah.
But I plan on doing that not in physical gold, but in a gold ETF. I won't recommend ones. There's many nuances, and I'm not a pro at each one, and you do your own research. Actually, I'm invested in a couple different ones, but I have one picked out in my mind that I'd like to save that would be the vehicle. So in an ETF. And then on top of that, again on my list, I don't know how and I don't want to quantify it, but to spend more time with my dad. I feel outside of all the other crazy stuff we had going on, I could have spent more time.
Sure.
So, halfway through the year, my schedule should change. And it should be more favorable. I'll be back on days, so
Let's
I feel
go.
I'll have more opportunity to do that. that's on my radar. And then the last one is I'd really like to get into a rental, but I'm not going to like nail it down. I really want to, but there's other buying/inheriting the land and then making sure my significant other is comfortable with it. Like there's a few variables that need to line up, and they aren't always things that are entirely in my control. So I can't really hammer that one down, nor do I want to.
Yeah,
but
that's
I'd like to keep looking for opportunities for rental. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's awfully important to remember when creating goals, is to remind yourself what's in your circle of control.
Yeah. Once that kind of relates back to I wanted to have X amount of dollars in net worth, and then ultimately I just decided that was 0.5 Bitcoin. If it's up, it's up. It's down, it's down. Like at the time I made that goal, like that was the value, and the price of it was out of my control. And as of right now, I mean, technically that would have been a fail if I would have said 60, because it's at like 87 grand right now. So half of that, it's not 60. So I mean, technically, I would have called that a fail, but I just decided that was what I needed to hit. So
well, it's no different than gold or X amount of stocks or whatever. Yeah,
I don't have any regrets by any means. But and actually, speaking of that, everyone always we haven't talked about Bitcoin in a while. It's definitely down. It's down off its highs. Nothing has changed on my end when it comes to that. Like the long-term thesis is still the same. I don't regret buying it or anything like that. And everyone has a crazy prediction, and what's it going to finish the year out at? What's it going to do next year? And everyone has some like wild prediction. And every time I hear these wild predictions, I just shake my head. I made a prediction earlier this year, and it was based on nothing other than gut feeling and just like realistic, in my mind, what was possible. And we'll play that back here for you guys. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, I think, in my opinion, we'll see 125 yet this year.
Yeah, you got lucky with that one.
I don't know if I'd say I was lucky.
What about 2026? Hit me.
Bitcoin prediction for 2026?
We're going to play it back in 2027.
Oh, no. Putting the pressure on.
Yeah.
There's so many variables. Obviously, none of that's in my control. But if I had any guesses, I'm going to guess Q1 is flat or down.
This is a tough one.
This is really tough.
Yeah.
I feel like I really had a good handle on this last year, but then stuff's just getting crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
Like, it really just depends on, like, rate cuts and, like, if we go to war. I mean, all this shit's possible in my mind. I am going to predict that we're going to have a real sideways year. A lot of consolidation, ups and downs, decent volatility. I'm going to predict that it doesn't break the all-time high of like 126 and change.
And I will go ahead and put 126.001 on that, just so I have anything above that.
Another prediction to that is I think gold will continue to run. I don't follow silver. I won't make any predictions on silver. I don't know shit about silver. It's been ripping lately, but I'm not going to speculate why or where that's going. But I'm going to predict that gold chugs on, and that kind of leads me back to why I'm investing in what I'm investing in and my financial goals. And that's why I am going to put money to build a house or a rental in a gold ETF, is I think gold grinds on. Pretty much all assets are at all-time highs with the exception of Bitcoin's pulled back. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to predict that continues. I think gold's going to continue to march on. I think I will predict by the end of the year, I'll make another prediction. These are just for funsies. Don't listen to me. I just weld. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment only. I'm going to predict that gold will see 5,800 by the end of 2026. Maybe not to exceed. I'm not going to say it finishes the year there. That's just my prediction. Right now it's like 4,500 and change.
Sure.
And it's been up dramatically in 2025, but those are my predictions based on just gut instinct solely.
All right, enough about that. How can the people take your money?
We've got a lot of unclaimed money out there. I'm going to do the same thing as we've done on the last couple of episodes. I'm going to ask a question, and the first person to answer this question that's liked and subscribed to the channel, I will personally Venmo you $20. Go back and watch the other ones because nobody's claimed any of these yet. So none of you are watching to the end. But for those of you who have, how many more times is someone likely to complete their goals if they write it down?
Cool. Well, I hope somebody takes his money quickly. Do you have any closing words for the guests?
If you've ever sent a draft instead of saving it, hit like and subscribe. And the bell.
Where do you come up with... man...
Catch you on the next one. Set your goals. Drop your if you have any goals set aside for Q1 or 2026, drop them in the comments also, because I want to know.
You heard the man.